Hey, welcome to Locked On Lakers for a Thursday. Andy Kamenetsky here. The Lakers play their second preseason game, and for the minutes that mattered, no Anthony Davis, but no problem when you have Austin Reaves running the show and, LeBron chipping in too, I guess. Plus, are the Lakers suddenly a low-key, normal team? I'll get into all of that with special guest Harrison Fagan on Locked On Lakers.
You are Locked On Lakers, your daily Los Angeles Lakers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
To everyone for making the technically proficient Locked On Lakers your first listen Monday through Friday, your team every day. Wherever you get your podcasts, always free, never behind that grift that we call a paywall. Subscribe to the podcast as well as the YouTube channel where we have a really lively, fun community and a comment section that we often implement as part of our shows. Make another Locked On podcast your second listen, of course, after making ours your first. But then, because we do nothing as a society anymore other than just listen to podcasts, make a Silver Screen and Roll podcast your third listen, especially if it features Harrison Fagan, longtime member of Lakers media, longtime member of Silver Screen and Roll and SB Nation. He runs the whole damn thing right now, and he's joining us in place of Brian, who's out of town. His name is Fagan.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me, Andy. And, I'm going to skip the part where I call you my favorite Kamenetsky brother, given that you just let 8 minutes of this, just die on the vine by not hitting record the first time. But
hey.
Hey, look, you said longtime member of the Lakers community and Lakers pot, not long time enough to notice that the record button had not started.
Hey,
so,
what makes me, though, a veteran is I noticed 8 minutes in as opposed to after the entire show, and we realized there was no record.
That's Austin Reaves level processing speed.
It really is.
You caught it right as it happened.
And we're going to get into that, Austin's processing speed, not the behind the scenes of me bleeping up the original part of the show. Lakers fall 119-115 in their second preseason game, this time to the Suns. But for the minutes that actually mattered, and they were played without Anthony Davis, he was a very late minute scratch with lower back tightness. The Lakers said that just sitting out was precautionary, no reason to push it during preseason. We'll get into this later on because with AD, it always feels more complicated than that. The Lakers had planned on going small anyway, Darvin Ham had said. So Wenyen Gabriel got the start at center alongside Russell Westbrook, Patrick Beverley, Austin Reaves, and LeBron. They opened the second half up 7. That's when LeBron took a seat. And they were up 4 when Russell Westbrook and Beverley took a seat. And it was another game where with the regulars out there, the guys that mattered, they didn't necessarily dominate an opponent, but they definitely controlled the game. LeBron, much better than the Ofer debut in the preseason. 23 points, 8 of 11 from the field, 4 assists in 17 minutes. Russ, 12 points, 4 of 12 from the field. He began much more efficient than he closed. 6 rebounds, 3 assists against 4 turnovers. Austin Reaves, quite a stat stuffer tonight. 6.7 rebounds, a team-leading 9 assists, plus 3 steals and 2 blocks. And Kendrick Nunn, 21 points off the bench in 19 minutes, 8 of 13 from the field. Harrison, what stood out to you now that people can hear us?
Well, as I said before, it was Austin Reaves, but I want to give the Lakers a little bit of credit here, just as a team. I know that we all, especially myself, became very jaded watching last year's team not try, all of this stuff. You guys said it during I think your last show and on Twitter during the first game. It would still hold true tonight that through 2 games, the Lakers have shown more effort in the preseason than they did basically for the entirety of last regular season. So I think they deserve credit for that. No moral victories, but I'm not going to give them moral victories, at least for both games, but I think we can give them one win for between the two games because they've led
two
for
half moral
so,
victories equal a whole.
Yeah, they just need to do it 2 in a row, and then they'll actually get a win. But they're doing great in the first halves. But I think the thing that stood out to me most was Austin Reaves, and just like he nearly had a 5x5 in the preseason. I think it shows his versatility and sort of in an environment where we've all been talking about all summer how many guards the Lakers have, how tough the battle is going to be for minutes. Unless they're going to play 4 guard lineups all the time. I think, again, it's preseason. How much does this matter? I don't know, but he really made a solid case, I think, that he should be getting strong consideration for a big role within that sort of grouping, especially after sort of, I think, like a mediocre to bad, first game.
Well, he's also somebody that I think, on paper at least, if this team is as good as they want to be, he's somebody that I think actually projects to have more value on a good team, even though he might be able to showcase himself more on a bad team. Last year he closed the season with a triple-double, which was great, but it ultimately
put up like Jerry West rookie numbers or something. Like it was like the numbers that was like only Jerry West and I think it was like Oscar Robertson or something had done as a rookie.
Right, but it was very much without taking anything away from Reeves because he played legitimately well, and it's like somebody's going to do that stuff. And if you're leaving it up to Austin Reaves, no disrespect to Hillbilly Irvin, but your team ain't going anywhere. But on a team that actually is playing for something and is able to play for something, I think a lot of the things that he does, just sort of filling in the seams and keeping the wheels greased, keeping the trains running, you can see that value, especially tonight where he was doing a lot of facilitating and in particular too, just keeping the Lakers at the pace that Darvin Ham keeps talking about them wanting to run at.
Yeah, I mean, Darvin's been talking about that since media day, about how much he wants this team to get out and go. And I think Reeves, with his kind of processing speed, with his ability to run in transition, find guys, make the extra pass. It's all the white guy cliches except for the shooting, I guess. But like he does all of those things. And, I think you've really seen the last 2 games, honestly, I think him and LeBron really have built a strong connection. And part of that might just be that they're 2 of the only guys that played together last year on the team. But they do seem to have like a pretty good, connection and chemistry there. And it is something that I'm sort of excited to watch this season as a way that this team can kind of make up for their lack of shooting and sometimes their lack of spacing and the way that things can get clogged.
Well, I mean, not to throw out more examples or involving white guys that nobody thought much of at the beginning of their careers, but Alex Caruso, do you remember LeBron's first season when pretty much everybody was hurt before LeBron was eventually shut down himself? Caruso got called up and the 2 of them played really well. This is when Caruso was still a G League guy. And you could see LeBron legitimately loved to play with Caruso. And Caruso and Reeves, again, get compared in a lot of ways that are just totally lazy, but, kind of fun. But like the commonality they do have is they're both smart players who do a lot of things reasonably well and know where they're supposed to be. And if you're with somebody like LeBron, who knows where everybody's supposed to be, if you're in the right places, LeBron's going to find you. Or those times where LeBron's supposed to be somewhere where he's, briefly off ball, you need to find him so he can start that action again. If Reeves has the ball, he's going to find LeBron. So, I mean, it makes sense in a lot of ways that a role player like Reeves would actually have that connection with LeBron.
Yeah, and to your point about like the Caruso thing, I agree with you that they really aren't all that similar players, other than just that they both have like good chemistry with LeBron, and they're like quick readers. They're guys who extend advantages, extend plays, things like that. And Reeves, honestly, like he has a lot more sort of off the dribble, like shooting, shot making skill than Caruso has ever displayed in his entire NBA career. Like that's not his role, but there were moments tonight where, Reeves hit a couple like off the dribble jumper floater things. And you can just tell that these are shots that he works on where he knows that he's going to get these opportunities as a secondary attacker.
And you had a theory, we were talking before the show, about Austin Reaves' success tonight in Las Vegas.
Yeah, he mentioned before the game that he was asked about the big matchup between Wembanyama and Scoot Henderson, and he was like, I didn't really watch it. I was out playing blackjack, which was like, I was I was kind of floored that like a second-year player would answer that, because normally like these young guys, you've seen this a million times, like, they're so media trained that it's like every answer is like both teams played hard, like we really want to win. Those young guys are great. I think all young players are great and will be great when they're in the NBA, and I love basketball. So of course I'm a junkie. I watch everything. And he was just like, no, not really. I watch blackjack, or I played blackjack all night. And it was on, it was Michael Jordan-esque. I'm not sure that I'm overstating things to say.
No.
Admitting that you're going out in Vegas all night before a big game. Like, this was Austin Reeves's flu-like symptoms game. He might genuinely play better when he is a degenerate gambler.
Well, we saw during The Last Dance, MJ's entire generation stayed up all night gambling. Like, even in the playoffs, this is just Austin Reaves trying to become.
No wonder no one could shoot in that era. They were all hungover. Like,
well, it's just him trying to become his generation's GOAT. Like, if first of all, if Las Vegas gets an expansion team, Austin Reaves is suddenly a max player.
Yeah, LeBron signing him. He's bringing him in.
Oh, there's the connection right there.
Yeah,
Austin Reaves splitting doubles and splitting aces.
This is that floor vision. Like, he's seeing like 8 years in the future. LeBron's gonna max me down the line when he sees that I can shrug off this Vegas nightlife like it's nothing.
Dude, the future SI cover, the first season in Vegas. Austin Reaves, Bronny James. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, like a balding Austin Reaves. Like, he's by that point, he's losing his hair. He's like a veteran. He's bulked up by like 50 pounds. He's like a power forward now, but just kind of gets by on wiles and smarts. I'm ready. He has a bunch of tattoos, like smoking on the SI cover. I'm ready for this.
He's got a cocktail in his hand on the cover. Just everything. Just lean. He's like the new Rodman.
Ronnie and Bryce. They're all three of them are on the cover. It's
LeBron's two sons and his adopted son, Austin Reaves.
Yes.
All right. Coming up,
Caruso's the coach.
Coming up, want to get into a little bit more that we saw in this game, and then also the question of Anthony Davis unavailable. It always feels like something. Harrison, is it actually something? Talk about that next. Locked On Lakers brought to you by BetOnline, your number one source for all your pro and college football betting needs and sports info this season. BetOnline.net. Find all the latest football league developments, game matchups, news, and podcasts. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sporting wagering information, including live betting, esports, and scores. The fastest, easiest way to check in on all your favorite sports and events, including MLB, MMA, boxing, and golf, but of course, also the NBA, Locked On Lakers Familia. If you are looking to get ahead of the 2023 season, which is starting very soon, lay down some early action, go to betonline.net. Lakers currently getting 22-1 odds to win the championship. If you think the odds makers aren't giving the Lakers enough respect, now is the time to get in your bet at that number before the Lakers all of a sudden look like a 1 seed and you're not going to get as much bang for your buck. Anthony Davis currently 20-1 for Defensive Player of the Year, behind guys like Robert Williams and Jaren Jackson Jr., who aren't even going to start the season. They are injured. He should take that personally. Head to the website today. Use your mobile device. Learn more about the trends in action. Bet online where the game starts. For a nice bounce back game it's weird to say bounce back for LeBron in a preseason game because it's LeBron James. Who the hell cares?
When he really did not play or care in the first preseason game,
but it still though was nice to see LeBron truly doing LeBron things. He had the energy of a guy that I think wanted to at least not go double offers, but also recognized the odds of me playing the second end of a back-to-back against Minnesota slim to none, so I'm gonna show out in this game. He had I thought a really good level of activity and production on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, and we know that he loves these Las Vegas fans. He wants to own a team that they're going to pay into one day.
You're always thinking ahead, Harrison.
He's not allowed to play in Las Vegas Summer League. Adam Silver has the Lakers have banned him from that. So this is his only chance is during the preseason to kind of make fans. There are kids that are going to grow up and become Las Vegas LeBron season ticket holders or Kings. Maybe they'll just take the name from Sacramento. They'll buy it. So, I thought he looked really good. Obviously, he took a couple of those, 40-foot like heat checks in the second quarter that went in that are always fun. He had the one leg kind of like leaner, I think it was just inside the 3-point line. Like LeBron's ridiculous. And he can, it is it just still is. Every so often I think about like how insane it is that he came into the league as a guy with a reputation who could not shoot, and the amount of strides he's made to where he can take these kind of insane prayers, and you kind of have faith that it's going in because he's so confident as he's firing it. It's incredible. And, to be in year 20, there just are not enough platitudes. And again, it's preseason, but yeah, it was fun to watch at the very least and to see how he looks out there with everyone else.
One of the things that jumped out at me in the NBA GM survey was that LeBron finished like with 3% of the vote for most athletic in the league. Like, he's entering year 20, age 38, and getting votes for most athletic doesn't seem out of pocket or crazy. Like, think about that though. Like, the idea of representing that category, and like whether you think he's the most athletic player in the league or not, whatever, like, it's not crazy to think about him that way.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's what some of the stuff he very clearly is a lot more selective about that burst, but he still has it. It's every so often he'll like pop out a dunk in there, then or really try to jam on someone, and it's just, yeah. I mean, there are no words. He's just ridiculous, and again, maybe they're like the Lakers fans that booed them, the other night, don't want to hear this, but like he looked really good out there. The team, I've honestly thought the team has looked, pretty solid. Like when the guys that are playing are going to play, even when he had the offer the other night. Now tonight, when I thought Russ was like a little less good than he was the other night without AD, like I think there are reasons for optimism here. I'm certainly not rushing out and using and doing like the Bet Online championship bet just yet, but it's that they look like they could be in for a real bounce back this year.
Well, okay, this is actually a point that I've tried to stress a lot over the offseason because, last year was such an unmitigated disaster. And it was unpleasant to watch beyond the fact that they weren't winning. Like,
it drove me out of Lakers blogging. I couldn't do it anymore.
You demanded a promotion over it.
Yes.
I got to do something else.
But like, I can't watch Russ again.
I can't do this. You just said like either promote me or I quit.
Yeah.
But so much last year went wrong, and there was roster construction issues. Obviously, Russ's fit was an issue. But if LeBron and AD stay healthy, that team is going to make the playoffs. I'm not saying they're going to win a championship. I don't think they're going to win a championship. I don't think they had the personnel to win a championship, but they're going to be better. And if we're seeing now, like if LeBron and AD are out there and they're healthy. I recognize AD didn't play in this game. We'll get into that in a second. But game one, AD looked really good. Yeah. AD played really well.
And not just the shot, just like the defense. He didn't look afraid to play. Like there was an arm up around the rim, like every single possession, basically, that the Kings took there. And that led to them missing a lot of layups at the rim.
Yeah. But like the foundation of LeBron and AD available and healthy, if you can build off that, like, yeah, it's not going to be a perfect fit with Russ, but it doesn't matter as much if those guys are available. Like Russ last year, to be fair to him, was asked to elevate a team that wasn't worth elevating in ways that he wasn't really asked to do when they traded for him. Like whatever.
And is frankly not capable of doing anymore at that level, at the level he used to be.
Right. I mean, as much as maybe the Lakers overstated in their minds, like what level of superstar Russ is still at this stage of his career, I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt that they did not think Russ can still carry a team over the course of the season. Like they weren't looking for him to, like a lot of what they wanted from him was, take some of that burden off LeBron, but they didn't mean it like, when LeBron misses a third of the season.
Yeah, they didn't mean like so LeBron can sit out. Like they meant during like the 12 minutes he sits down,
Right, exactly. Yeah. So like there is, it's not, neither one of us wants to be Pollyanna about this thing. Like there are areas of concern with this team, but I agree with you. What we've seen so far in the preseason has given me reason to think, be cautiously optimistic. That being said, AD missing the game with back tightness. I'd like to think that they're being straight with us, that it's just purely precautionary? And he was slated to play until like really the last minute. He had been slated
They
to
had
start.
already tweeted out the starting lineup graphic from the official Lakers account. They had to issue an update. Like, it was the first time I've ever seen that.
Yeah, they took him out. So concerns? Any?
So I understand why people would be concerned about it, because it's AD, because, I was looking at this before the game. He's played 76 games combined over the last 2 seasons. I get why anyone would be worried about this, and about any injury from him. And especially, when it comes late breaking and it sounds like a minor thing, it's like, oh man, this guy's just sitting out again, whatever. Like, I totally understand that perspective, but I just think, like, it's the preseason. If this was a regular season game, and if this was like game 2 of the regular season, and he had just come off the, like, I want to play all 82, and then it's like he has back tightness, and they're like, yeah, never mind, like 15 minutes before the game, we're going to sit him down in game 2. Again, maybe that is the right call there, but it would also like have a different connotation to me than them doing it before a literally meaningless preseason game that, the training staff, we've seen this with NBA teams throughout forever. Like, they'll rule anyone out for anything during the preseason. Like, if you have a hangnail, I'm pretty sure they will not let you play, just because there's no reward, and the risk is, compared to the zero reward, is pretty high. Because, if you're going out there with back tightness, there is a chance you hurt yourself worse. And maybe not a big chance, but there is a chance. And for no reward, I just don't see why risking it. So I'm not ready to panic yet.
Refresh my memory, because there's been a lot of these to keep track of. Has AD's injuries included back over the course of his time with the Lakers?
No, I feel like they've pretty much all been leg. He might have had a wrist thing at one point, but I feel like
he talked about the wrist thing. He was dealing with
that.
Yes,
that's right.
Last
Yeah,
year.
he was. Yeah, he said it messed with his jump
Big
shot.
revelation. No,
yeah, although it was a weird thing, because like he only had the wrist injury like halfway through the year, and he was like shooting badly to start the year.
Well,
but
actually, I looked up his splits. Whenever this happened in January, like, he was non-specific, but I just said, okay, we'll just look at January. Maybe this happened January 1st in a practice. His shooting splits went up after January. He had his best overall percentage. I think it was in February. He shot like 61% from the field. His three-point percentage, bad as it was far better post-January than pre-January. So I'm like, I'm not accusing him of making excuses. I genuinely am not. But if he was, go back to the drawing board, because that one sucked. Like, you were better after it.
You can accuse LeBron at times of maybe thinking a little too hard beforehand, and like trying to craft his image, and like thinking of what is exactly like the message I want to convey and the image I want to portray myself. You can never once accuse AD of having ever thought about a question before he has asked it. Like, that man has never, like, I don't know if he just doesn't get like the PR briefings like before the interviews about what might come up or whatever. Like, you could tell he's given genuinely zero thought to anything that comes out of his mouth before like the moment he starts talking. And frankly, as someone who does this for a living and has, kind of talked to myself in circles a bunch of times on this podcast and on many others, I could relate to that.
Yeah, I think after the game, or after a practice, he's either thinking about the game or the practice that just happened, or Call of Duty. It's one or the other. Like,
Grand Theft Auto Online. It's that's where it's at. That's what AD likes to play.
Oh, is that what he's playing now?
Yeah, it's GTA Online, because I remember this because there was the clip of him killing a guy in the Steph jersey before the play-in game.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Now, GTA Online. That's his.
Do we know? Does he play that with Schroeder?
That might have been Call of Duty when he was playing with Schroeder.
That's what I'm wondering. Like, if maybe, because now that Dennis is back, he's eventually going to be back in the country any day now, and with the team. Like, and he and AD bonded so much over Call of Duty during Dennis's one season here.
Although, like maybe not, because AD apparently hated his passing and like didn't think he threw him enough lobs. So like, I said they bonded.
No, I said they bonded over Call of Duty. I didn't say they bonded over basketball. I said they bonded over Call of Duty.
AD's like, yeah, man, it's gonna suck to lose my gaming buddy, but we got to get someone who will throw me a lob every once in a while. Like,
friendship is not the same thing as teammates. All right.
Yeah.
Coming up next, are the Lakers actually one of the least dramatic teams, or becoming one of the least dramatic teams around the NBA, everybody always associates the Lakers and drama, but are they getting lapped by other squads around the league? Talk about that coming up next. Really quick, Harrison, I'm very disappointed in our conversation about Austin Reaves Breaking Bad that I didn't throw up this image.
Oh, no. Yes, I forgot about
the NBA 2K. I don't know who this is, but it ain't Austin Reaves.
It literally looks like Austin Green, our blogger at SSR, or our former blogger who used to do recaps for us. We were giving him a hard time in Slack when that image came out.
Yeah, I mean, this NBA 2K graphic that they came up with for Austin Reaves, like it looks like Vlade Divac, honestly, like on like a 7-day bender. Like
that's Austin Reaves after he's been in Vegas for all of summer league.
But even then, like he's got like pitch black hair as opposed to like the sandy blonde. I don't know who that cat is, but it ain't Austin. But so as this game was starting, Harrison, there was news from Shams Charania from The Athletic that there was an altercation at the Warriors practice on Wednesday that had the team, quote, considering disciplinary action towards Draymond Green. Then later, Chris Haynes from Yahoo tweets out, Draymond Green was apologetic in aftermath of the altercation with Jordan Poole, but there was a buildup stemming from teammates noticing a change in Poole's behavior throughout camp, with the guard on the verge of securing a lucrative extension, league sources tell Yahoo. This is after it started coming out that the disciplinary action would have been over Draymond Green and Jordan Poole having like a legitimate altercation. Like there have been words, then Draymond ends up hitting Jordan Poole like an actual punch. Haynes ends up tweeting out, Draymond Green and Jordan Poole have a history, but no players for the Golden State Warriors felt the incident was warranted. Some form of disciplinary action is expected. And Vinny Goodwill with Yahoo tweeted out an article with more details about this. And it said, quote, both Poole and Green are up for contract extensions and appears Poole will receive an extension while Green knows he has to play the season out, playing a part in leading to Green striking Poole, sources said. Again, Draymond apparently apologetic. Vinny Goodwill said that Poole actually has been, according to sources, acting like a pro since training camp. At the risk of plugging yet another non-locked on podcast, I have a feeling Draymond's next one's going to be interesting.
Well, it also, as we were talking about before we went live, like it features, it's going to feature Patrick Beverley, at least according to the schedule right now. It's, I believe, scheduled to go live in 12 hours. And I just assume like Draymond and Pat Bev are going to like rank like top 10 teammates they've wanted to punch, like, and we'll just like, we'll just go from there. But yeah, no, it was, I'm glad I think I saw Woj. It was Woj that reported for ESPN that Poole's all right. So I feel comfortable joking about this now because like in the aftermath, I'm like, is this a Bobby Portis like situation where the guy, I forget who it was on the Bulls that he punched, but like actually like had to have like,
was it Mirotic?
It was Mirotic. Yes, that's right. I was forgetting his name. And I was like, I think he had to have like orbital bone surgery. He did. Which, yeah, I'm laughing, but that like was not funny in the moment. And
okay, like, yeah, side note with that, I'm not going to say that Mirotic deserved to be punched. And obviously what happened to him was bad in terms of like the physical damage and stuff like that. But he must have been irritating the hell out of everybody on that team because the Bulls were like, you could see were solidly in the pro Bobby Portis camp when that thing happened. Like Bobby Portis broke a teammate's face and everyone was like, yeah, kind of deserved it. I'm all right with it.
Look, we found out that Bobby Portis's crazy eyes not lying to us. That is not a guy. That is not a guy you want to mess with. He's like, I can imagine that no teammate has ever irritated him to the point of him feeling the need to punch them ever again. And maybe Poole had to learn. Maybe according to Yahoo sources, Poole had to learn that lesson the hard way. I did. It was really hard to tell where that first scoop came from. That was some teammates felt he had it coming. I would imagine one teammate in particular, potentially the one that punched him, maybe felt like he had it coming.
Some very sorry, not sorry sourcing in terms of
it's like Draymond was apologetic, felt. But also Jordan Poole deserved it. So,
but like this got me thinking though, Harrison, between this brouhaha in Golden State, and who knows what this is going to turn into, but lingering issues between Draymond Green and teammate X have been problems before for the Warriors. Phoenix with Robert Sarver forced to sell the team because of racist, misogynistic behavior. DeAndre Ayton feeling like $130 million hostage, and Jay Crowder's situation unresolved. Boston's got the situation with Ime Udoka suspended. Everybody waiting for Brooklyn to implode at some point, like Kyrie to tweet something he saw on the dark web. The Lakers are, dare I say it, seeming kind of normal right now. Like they act, compared to what everybody thought it was going to be, come October 5th, October 6th, by the time people hear this podcast, kind of low key, kind of no drama.
Yeah, now that you said that, we're going to find out that Austin Reaves punched a teammate over blackjack bets, after the game or something. But
well, it's his team now.
Hand up. Hand up, I was among the people who, especially once they traded for Pat Bev and it appeared like Russ was maybe going to be on the team, I was like, there is no possible way. This is going to be insane, and the media day is going to be a complete clown show, and I have no idea how they're going to navigate this circus. And then, it not only was it relatively normal, way more normal than you would have expected, just kind of on paper based on all the different personalities and all the different longtime issues and histories and whatever involved, just not even just compared to our expectations, but compared to almost a third of the league, the Lakers have been a good vibes team, which is very, very strange. And like you mentioned, this can change, like the Warriors and their fans found out tonight, this can change with one Shams tweet. But for now, it does seem like the Lakers are getting along. And I think that's worth noting. That's, again, they're 0-2 in the preseason, so they deserve boos. But outside of that, I think it's a lot easier to get behind this team, both from the way that they're playing and the way that they don't seem to openly have contempt for each other and the fan base.
Yeah, I mean, even the situation with Russ, there is a certain degree of awkwardness about this because he is well aware that they are not even fielding calls. They are making calls for people.
Yeah, they're making the calls. They are,
right.
Yeah.
They are making calls, finding out about potentially trading him. This is something they are looking to do. And ultimately, if a change is deemed necessary, the change is going to be Russell Westbrook. And he knows this, but to his credit, other than the freeze out with him and LeBron in Summer League, which, to be totally honest, I think that's more on LeBron than Russ, because he's the one with the power in that situation. If he wants them talking, I really feel like it's up to LeBron to go up to Russ, not Russ to go up to LeBron. But that aside, Russ showed up to Darvin Ham's press conference. He showed up to Patrick Beverley's press conference. He was coaching the Summer League team. He was acting like a quasi coach out there. And during media day, I thought he handled this awkward situation really professionally. Even his attitude of just look, whether I'm wanted or not, I still got a job to do. It just sounds like a guy who's come to realize there are worse ways to make $47 million. And if that's what it comes down to, so be it.
Yeah, and I think he got a lot of criticism last year from I would imagine you guys at various times, certainly from myself. And so I don't want to sound like I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth here. I criticized him for the way that he acted and the way that he didn't really seem to make a very earnest effort to do the little things that were kind of required for him to have success. But it's been night and day. And again, it's early on in the preseason. We saw last year the dangers of assuming that Russ has discovered new aspects of his game too early, when he had that one game where he set a bunch, LeBron and him ran a bunch of guard forward pick and roll down the end of the stretch. And I think he set 2 more ball screens the entire season. So, I'm not ready to buy in after 2 preseason games and just be this is going to work. It's all fine. We're all good to go. But he has handled it on and off the court, I think, like a true professional, and he does deserve a ton of praise for that. Again, there's flaws in his game. He's not the player that he once was. There were even tonight, he took a couple bad shots. People were kind of getting after him after the first game for a couple defensive lapses that literally every single veteran player has during the preseason in a game where I actually thought he was mostly engaged defensively.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
People are they're ready to go after him because it was so bad last year, and because, just sort of the social media culture that we live in, rewards that, if somebody's the the person getting the majority of the blame with the team, like just kind of like targeting them again is a way to get engagement and a way to sort of get reaction. And there's like a lot of people that want to see him fail. And I think he deserves a ton of credit for the way that he's approached this so far. And like, I've honestly been really impressed on and off the court.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's early. The first sign of adversity is when we're really going to know how this is going to play out. But if nothing else, he seems to have responded much better to Darvin Ham, and that can make a real difference. And maybe Russ has just come to realize, like, if I want career longevity, I'm really going to have to start making adjustments and playing ball. So we'll see. Harrison Fagan, he is, again, longtime member of the Lakers media. You can still hear him on Silver Screen Roll podcasts. Occasionally, any writing of yours popping up?
Yeah, so I've been writing a little bit, like because we're still in an interim period at Silver Screen Roll. I can I guess I can sort of break some news. Like we should be announcing news on my replacement shortly within the next like week or so. But I've still been filling in a little bit there. I'm still planning to potentially sporadically contribute and write and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, the majority of my writing is now emails and things like that. But I'm still contributing to the podcast. I'm still going to be tweeting because I have an addiction. If my wife and I co-host a movie podcast, where I just watch through every single Disney princess movie, so you do not have to.
Well, tell everybody the name of that podcast and tell everybody where to follow you on Twitter.
So that is at Rewind and Reconsider. And see, that's why you're a pro. I didn't even say the name of the podcast and where people could find it. So you're 1-1 tonight. You forgot to start the recording, but you did help me get my plug in. And then at HM Fagan on Twitter.
I appreciate.
Although those of you that have been with Locked On Lakers since the beginning, you know where to find me because I founded this podcast. Like Andy doesn't want to give me credit for it on the air. I founded this podcast. I built this thing.
Not according to the Wikipedia page that I re-edited. you had nothing to do with it. I don't even know who Anthony Irwin is.
I'm in the footnotes. It's like a featured guests at times, like down below.
Again, man, as always, appreciate the time. It's always fun having you on. Brian will be back for Friday's show. And again, subscribe to the podcast, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and we will see everybody then.